the truth about rotation. We're going to break down this hot topic. We're going to look at it in a backswing capacity. We're going to look at it in a downswing capacity, how it's going to affect you as a golfer, how it's going to influence the ball flight. We're at Las Colinas. Let's get into it. Right, let's talk about rotation in the backswing capacity now. And I'm going to talk about the lower half of the body. So how am I actually moving my hips? How am I tilting the hips? What I typically see is that generally people will under rotate, or they'll get told that they need to rotate more. And what that looks like is that people start to work ridiculously open and actually rotated with a low half, where the belt buckle or the right hip moves so far back, they're in a position which adds so much depth to the top of the golf swing. So ideas of the grip moving behind kind of the center of my body, or the head as a reference. And then from this position here, it's actually so difficult to get this golf club back to the golf ball. We often get into that typically kind of stuck position, or we can alternatively get into that position where people are kind of throwing the handle out from the top of the golf swing in an aid or an attempt to get back to hitting this golf ball where we intend to. So I'm just going to hit a couple here, and I'm really going to just try and feel that I am almost over rotating in the backswing. So I'm really turning the hip, chest, and that was a big shot that turned over from right to left. Okay, if you want to draw the golf ball, or even if you've got the ability to get back to the golf ball. But golf, for a lot of us, isn't our full-time jobs. We're not hitting golf balls all day, every day. I hit a fair few golf balls in between sessions. Been playing a bit of golf this week. It's nice and warm, so I'm actually feeling okay that I can actually return back to that golf ball in a way which can deliver that golf club reasonably well. Right guys, sorry for butting into the video. I just want to make you all aware of a giveaway that I'm going to be running between now and February. So this is to win an online golf lesson with myself. All you have to do is comment on any video that I release between now and the 1st of February, Trey PGA online. Comment down on this video, make sure you subscribe. Winner announced 1st of February. Let's get back to the video. Well, what I also see is that often people will snap and lock this leg out, and what that looks like is this. So really straight leg. You can see the trail leg actually hyperextends there, and actually if I try and return back to this golf ball, it's actually restricting my right hip now. So I often get into a very closed position with the pelvis, very closed with the shoulders, and now everything is pointing out in that direction. And what that could often cause us to do is often release the golf club a little bit too much. If we haven't got the ability or actually the skill to do that, then we can say hello to the right side of the golf course. So what we have to understand is how to rotate, what the legs are doing, how much we need to rotate as individuals, because we're not all the same, we're all built differently. So often ideas of rotation for some people and the next person is going to be slightly different. So if we're talking about it in a backswing capacity now, what I also see is that when we get told to rotate, it's actually got a slight tilt to the pelvis as well. So if I pop this golf club across the front of my hips and I start to rotate back, you can see if I did this properly, the right side of my hip is going a little bit higher than the left side of my hip. What often people do is that they'll turn on a very flat axis like this, and it actually kind of disregards the rotation because this is a little bit false. We get stuck on the right side and we cannot get back to that golf ball. So what we have to understand is that rotation is very different for the vast majority of us. If we talk about it now in a downswing, and often we see pictures of the likes of Dustin Johnson, Morikawa getting into ridiculously, say, rotated and open positions with the body, with the lower half of the body, and often kind of the upper hub as well. And what that can lead to, what that generally does, is actually controls what the club face is doing. So ideas of rotation in the downswing or at impact will often affect this. And if we're golfers that miss target to the right and we get told to open up more, you can see that golf ball went so far to the right because actually led me to lead the handle a little bit more, offer a little bit more shaft lean, which is of course there going to open the club face. So again, it's very different for a lot of us. I'm a golfer that actually misses target a little bit to the left, so often rotation in a downswing for me can be quite vital to hitting a very straight golf shot. But if I'm a player that doesn't square the club face quite as well, maybe I'm going to have some ideas of letting the head look down at the ball a little bit more, and that can stall the body, it can stall the rotation and actually allow me to square this golf club up a little bit more. So I'm just going to actually hit a couple here as well with ideas of moving the head, because if I start to move the head, you can see the shoulders and the hips want to open up a little bit more towards the target. So I'm going to get my head moving. For me, that squared the club face up quite nicely. I hit another one now, and I'm going to try and have ideas of leaving the head down at the golf ball. And you can see how the release changes in these two golf swings. Head was down a little bit more. That produced a little bit more of a draw shot. So the truth of rotation is it's very different for us as individuals. It can control what the club face is doing. It can control what the path is doing. Control a lot in the golf swing. So understand yourselves. Understand firstly where your golf ball is. Is your ball flight established? Have you got a pattern? And how rotation is going to influence that ball flight, which is going to influence impact. Stay tuned, we're at Las Colinas range. Lovely setting. That was, yeah, okay.